All right. Let us see what we have with Mr. Strip Mall Lawyer. I'm sorry. I mean, he did have a strip. I think he did have a strip mall uh lawyer business at one point.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the
Well, I
end of the
mean, as a joke,
Rekieta
but
Law Saga. Now,
who
this is a
knows?
saga that we picked up focusing on the legal elements in the downfall of
A
once
Lin Cub?
very
No, you
popular
shut
within
up.
the LawTube
You
sphere
shut your
streamer
mouth, you
Nicholas
filthy
Robert
whore.
Rekieta and his fall
Sorry, that
from
was rude.
grace through his criminal saga on multiple charges in Minnesota. This is a streamer that I spent a lot of time with, a streamer that was there during my come up in the LawTube sphere. And really, at the end of this, we're just looking at the consequences that followed and also checking back on some of those predictions that we made in the
What?
beginning
Lin Cub
and
spray?
saying
Lin
how
Cub
far off
burn?
were
What the
we?
fuck is wrong?
Were we
The fact that
generally
my
in the ballpark?
broke ass has
What were
emotes
we
surprises
talking
me. Did you
about?
get gifted
So
that?
we're going to get into that today on this channel. And this should be, absent any other criminal charges, the end of the saga, really the end of my coverage of this issue. So,
Oh,
for those
that's
that have been
why.
along for the ride, I hope you enjoy
Oh,
this kind
is
of
it because
closing
of
of this
oh,
chapter, and
I'm
really
guessing the
a
case is done,
somber
right?
chapter in a life lesson that I hope can be learned by many people, not just content creators, but people in general. So, what we have today
Yeah, if
to
he's
show
saying
is
that.
the sentencing. So, this is the official court document
Oh,
filed in the
yeah, there it
district
is.
court
Yeah, it's
for the
done.
state of Minnesota in Kandiyohi County. It is the state of Minnesota as a plaintiff versus Nicholas Robert Rekieta, born December 16th, 1981, a male. And you see here an order, a warrant of commitment. So there were three charges that were brought against Nicholas Robert Rekieta. The first was drugs in the third degree, possession of 10 grams or more of a narcotic other than heroin
Lucky
or
you,
fentanyl.
gifted. Who
That
was the
had a
nice
penalty of
person?
up to 20 years in prison and
Was it random? It was probably
250,000 US
random, huh?
dollars of a fine. There's also
Then
possession
again,
of
you might
ammo
be
and a
gooning in
firearm
that
by a
person's
user
stream. I
of
don't
a
know.
controlled substance. And last but not least, child endangerment, permitting the presence or sale and possession of a controlled substance. So the disposition of the last two, the possession of ammo, firearm by a user of controlled substance, and the child
Mostly
endangerment have
random.
been dismissed. So those charges
Sure.
are fully gone. Now, the first charge, drugs in the third degree, is stayed. So what that means is, provided that he is compliant with the terms herein, with what we're going to talk about, this will go away. This will be dismissed, provided he complies. And this is complies for the entire duration
Of
of
it.
the penalties.
Yeah.
So if there is a violation, it is a chance that that can come back. And that's kind of how these things generally play out.
So
So let's
basically,
see
he's
here. We've
on
got the offense drugs in
community
the third
service.
degree, possession of 10 grams
As
or
long as
more
he
of a
doesn't
narcotic
break the
drug other than
rules,
heroin or
he will
fentanyl.
get
The offense
those
date was May
taken off.
23rd. It is stayed. Successful completion of probation will result in a dismissal. So once the probation is complete, there will be a dismissal. So here is the sentence details. Local confinement. So that means the jail time. Ordered on April 18th, 2025. Defendant is sentenced to 30 days in the Kandiyohi County Jail. The credit for time served is 2 days. So he spent 2 days in the Kandiyohi County Jail. That is counted against
So he has
that balance
28
of
days.
30 days. Therefore, 28 would be the balance. Now, I believe there's a typo in the next line, which says may be deferred of compliant with probation. I think that means if. So what the little asterisk there means that he may have that time deferred, that 28 days it's balanced deferred, if there is compliance with probation. Now, we're going to see there's a lot of conditions of probation, some of which are very questionable for Mr. Nicholas Robert Rekieta. The start date for that confinement would be August 1st, 2025. So he's not going in today. He would be going in August if there is no deferment there. Then further, we've
Oh.
got monitoring.
Wait,
Ordered on
oh, wait.
April 18th,
I think
2025,
I
defendant was
saw
placed on
him
supervised probation
trying
for
to do a
5 years,
stream.
monitored by
Is that why
Kandiyohi
he was
County
doing a stream right
Probation.
now?
So he is in probation for 5 years. Now, this is huge because Nicholas Robert Rekieta and his lawyers wanted him to have a very short probation. They wanted to have a very, very limited probation. That is not happening. In fact, the full recommendation of the government was adopted, and they got all 5 years. Very long
So
time
they
in
wanted
probation. So
short
during
probation,
probation,
but
what
they
are the
got all
conditions?
5 years.
Well, the first one is perhaps the doozy. And for anybody who's been struggling with addiction, and once again, they were in a situation where Nicholas Robert Rekieta has admitted to use of not just alcohol, which was
And that he
clear
has
and
drugs.
obvious and apparent, and
So
that was
so
never
they're
really in
gonna
debate,
make
but
him
also drugs.
be
There was a debate in the
abstinent.
beginning, and of course, myself and many others noted the clear signs and
And they're
indications of
probably gonna
drug
make
use or
him do. Oh
substance
yeah,
use,
he has to
where
go
there was a
to
denial that
basically
drugs were ever
a
used. There were
course
then later
essentially,
on, as the saga
or
developed, as the story
a
played out, there was a mission that indeed, yes,
right
drugs are
an
being used,
AA
a lot of
meeting,
drugs,
right?
a lot of types of drugs. Uh, and in the words of Nicholas Robert Rekieta, they were fun, they were great, they were amazing. Well, that cannot happen for the term of the probation. So that's going to
Cognitive
be the biggest one.
cooperative
And to be
skills training
honest,
programs directed by
more
your
than even the
agent.
30 days
Yeah,
or
so you might
28
have to
days or
do
whatever
some
else in
kind of
jail,
like
this 5 years of no drug and alcohol use is going to be very rough for someone who is deep in the throes of addiction by their
yeah.
own words and by their own actions. I do hope that he can fight that and he can get past that, but that is a very tough road for an addict to not relapse within 5 years. So, random testing, so submitting to random drug and alcohol testing as directed by the agent, must submit a baseline test as soon as possible. Cognitive skill training. So he's going to cooperate in cognitive skill training, skills programming, remain law abiding. So obviously don't commit any other crimes. Sign probation agreement, sign and comply with the probation agreement, meet with the agent. Do not possess firearms, ammunition, or explosives. So his firearms were indeed taken.
Confiscate, yeah.
Obtain permission from the agent before leaving the state so he can no longer travel freely outside of Minnesota. He's going to have to get
Gotta go
permission to
sleep.
go.
Alright, peace out.
Follow all state and federal criminal laws.
Huh,
Contact your
gay.
probation officer as directed.
Eat
Tell them within
dick.
72 hours if
Get
you
out of here.
contact with law enforcement, if you're charged with a new crime, if you change your address,
Go
employment, or
sleep, you
telephone number.
weirdo. Don't you have
Sign
work?
releases.
Actually, it's fucking
Cooperate with
Easter.
search of your person,
It's Sunday.
residence, vehicle, workplace, property, or things as directed. So that is a big one as well. He will no longer be able to tell the police,
That's
as we
homophobic,
saw in the
Dream.
record in the past,
There's no
to
such
F
thing.
off or to go away. He's going to have to be cooperative
That's just
and
the
follow
word for
all
you to be
recommendations of discharge from Divine
fucking
Hope Counseling. I believe that
up in your
is his
fifis, to be
counseling and
honest.
perhaps rehab as well, dated 9/11/2024. He also has to perform 80 hours of community service on top of all that, signed by Judge Stephen Wenzel, the judge of the district court in Candiota County. So what is let's start with what my lineup here. I mean, my general take on this was never that he was going to go to jail for a million years or whatever else. I always said it was possible he could face jail time as a penalty. That was a real penalty that he could face, and indeed the judge did order that. Whether or not that's deferred, it was a very real penalty. There were very many lawyers out there that said that that would be a penalty that would never be assessed, that it would never get to this point, that Nick was not guilty, that he would fight this, that he would win, that it would be dismissed pre-trial. None of that happened. This got to this stage where we all predicted it. There would be some sort of settlement. I said that from the beginning. This is not something for a first-time offender that where he was going to be given the max penalty. The book was going to be thrown at him. That was something that was never going to happen. And I made that clear. So I feel pretty confident this is in line with what I expected. Once again, it's hard to predict the exact amount. And there's a lot of debate on the sufficiency of that quote unquote jail time. It seems amongst the lawyers, I was watching a gaggle of lawyers, some of who I like and some of whom have more
Yeah, I don't
questionable
even watch.
opinions. But there
I
was a
don't watch
gaggle of lawyers
lawyers that
that
much. I'm not a
generally seem
lawyer
to believe
person.
that
I
was
don't
a
really
little
look into the
high,
law that
the
much.
30 days in jail.
I mean, I only had
But
to do it
seeing as there's
because
a
of
possibility of
fucking
deferment there, it
right
seems like that's
software
pretty
engineering stuff with
there's an
patent
out.
with
The
some
general
certain
consensus from
patent
the
law
public, so I've
stuff
seen
and
comments on this already on
right
X and on other YouTube videos.
digital
The general public
information
reaction is
act
that's
stuff,
not long
right,
enough, and most people turn to the
stuff
fact
like that. But
that
other than that,
the child endangerment
it's
side,
I
the
just know very
fact
like
which
limited
needs
stuff.
restating is that one of the children of Nicholas Robert Rekieta tested positive for cocaine. So that was the fact that I see most comments saying this is not enough time, this is not strict enough. Whereas on terms of the probation, I think most people are haven't really dissented about that. In fact, most people concur, I believe, with the assessment that 5 years is going to be pretty rough for somebody that was as deep in the throes of addiction as Nicholas Robert Rekieta. And I don't think many people have said that a lengthy probation is uncalled for. I think it absolutely would be called for, and I do hope that that
Well,
is
I
a
mean,
element,
given
right?
what happened, and
Both
then
carrot and stick,
I would,
which would incentivize
I
him
mean,
to be
given
compliant.
I would assume, given everything, given his right family and his right status and what he had on him at that time, I mean, that's probably why they gave him the max, right? They threw the buck at him.
With the terms of his probation, with the terms of his sentencing, and follow through with a full recovery. Of course, we always hope that people end up correcting their lives and getting on the right path, because once again, this is a man with a family, this is a man with a wife and kids,
Mm-hmm.
and for the sake of his wife and children, I certainly do hope he can comply with that and is not in any way in violation of probation, because oftentimes what doesn't get people is necessarily the trial itself or even the jail time. It is violating that probation. Many people end up violating one of these conditions, and you can see they are numerous. You
Yeah,
could violate another,
you
for
fuck up
example, violate
one.
another law, and
Yeah,
by
you
violating
violate
that
one and
law,
you're
you're
fucked.
also violating your probation.
Yeah, you
So
gotta
you're
be
hit with that as
careful.
well. And that
Yeah,
common
very
thing that is used
strict,
against
right?
many criminals out there is now applying to, ironically, a lawyer, right? Which who often will cover criminal stuff. So it's something that I think is the more risky part. I think folks looking at this and focusing overly on that 30 days is kind of missing the point of the 5 year probation. I think that is the real stick, and that is the real thing that's
Yeah,
going
the
to hit
5 year
Nicholas Robert
probation. Yeah,
Rekieta.
that's gonna
Of
be
course, none of this during
interesting.
our coverage, we focused on the legal side, really reflects on the side of it that is the YouTube and the content creator side. And since this is the end of the saga, this is the close of the era, I do feel it's appropriate for me to make some comments on that. I would wish for Nick, if he wishes to go back into the law sphere, to certainly try to focus on the law, try to clean up that image, try to show that he has changed. Certainly using alcohol as a motif for the show or as a motif for donations, whether it's $20, $50, or $100 shots or drinks, that certainly has to go, and that certainly must go by the conditions of the probation. So obviously that'll be a thing. The biggest thing is providing consistency and
Yeah,
being
I
able
mean,
to
he's
do
gonna
it
have
again.
if
And
he's gonna
when
keep
you have
streaming,
not
he's
been
gonna have to
streaming, when
change
you
his whole
have been
show,
away for that for so long,
especially after
you're going to
the
have to take some time to form those
after
habits.
his
It's like
jail time.
working out or doing anything else. When you go away from it, it's hard to get back to it. And I speak to this myself as a content creator in a similar sphere. When I get away or take a break, which I need, which we all need, it is hard to get back into it after a week of not doing it. You've gotten used to not doing that habit. And
Correct.
Nicholas Robert Rekieta has not done streaming, much less covering legal issues, in a long, long time. And because of that, because they're over a year of really no coverage or substantial legal coverage, and perhaps even longer if you consider that the last months, you'd say 6 to 8 months of his streaming, there was very little legal content included there, and more substance related ramblings. It's going to be difficult to get back into. I certainly hope he can do it. And I also think it might be an
I
opportunity for him
mean,
to
he was
consider
looking at
whether or
news
not he wants to
sometime.
try
I
a
mean,
different field
yeah,
altogether, where he
he
might
did
want
kind
to
of go
just
down
get
it a
out
little
of
bit.
the legal field and try some or the other venue or some other
Yeah,
vector
after
that he might
losing
be more
all
interested in and
the
engaged in.
lawsuit,
It seemed that he was
yeah, I
very
didn't do too
unhappy
well.
within the legal sphere, and perhaps there
Didn't
is a
do too
sphere of
well.
streaming or content
Yeah,
creation
especially with
that would be
the
more
Vic
fulfilling and
Mignon and
lead to a better
the
production
fucking
that wouldn't push him
the
towards
fucking other
substance abuse.
dude,
So that's
and
my
then now
take on that. That's
this.
kind of the end cap on this. I
Right. Oh
had been
yeah, and
covering
then
this fairly
there
closely
was
when there were
also the
legal parts, but
Ripaverse
this is the end
stuff.
of the saga. This is
There
the
was
end
a
of the
whole lot
Rekieta
of
era.
shit.
And absent other charges,
There
and
was a
I
whole
know
lot of
for those
shit.
following this very closely, there are certain hypothetical charges related to cyber crimes or whatever else that are being talked about, with access to emails belonging to Aaron Emolte, who was involved in the initial saga here. While that's possible, we haven't seen it yet, and it is purely speculative. So until we see something else, that will remain pure speculation and will not be subject to coverage on my channel. Certainly, I hope that Nick Rekieta can get things straight, but it's going to be a rough road ahead. And like others, I have my doubts, but I also have hope that perhaps he can pull it through. We'll see what happens. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm really, truly, genuinely interested to hear from you guys. Do you think this is long enough? Do you think this is not long enough? And also, more importantly, how about the probation? Do you guys actually believe that he's going to make it 5 years without use of alcohol and/or drugs? Do you think there'll be a relapse incident? I'm genuinely interested to hear where you guys land on this. Until next time, take care. Bye.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, given his I don't know. I mean, he has a religious background. I would assume. Yeah, but then there's the lawyer thing. I don't know. It's hard to say. Humans can be fickle sometimes, so hard to say. I mean, is if he can just stay away from the booger sugar and the alcohol. I mean, yeah, he should be fine. I mean, there's tons of people who fucking don't touch drugs at all, right? If anything, they don't even try to fucking use Tylenol or anything like that either. Like, I mean, to each their own. We'll see. Only time will tell.